Hi, Brian from Retrotopia here. Did you know we started a Patreon? And that said Patreon is free to join? Head on over to patreon.com/Retrotopia and join the free tier. This free tier will give you access to a second Spotify Retrotopia called Retrotopia Expansion Pass, where you can get not only the main show, but the shows exclusive to Patreon, such as Quick Play, where Alan, Sam, or myself will give a quick review on games that might not have the meat for a full episode. As well, you can write in comments for upcoming shows, including 8-Bit Banter Box and the Game of the Week. You can comment on the shows that have been aired, or you can message me and get a one-on-one time. You can also find a link to the Patreon at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, and that'll also give you a link to our Discord. So if you're looking to support the show through participating in the discussion, head on over to patreon.com/Retrotopia and sign up today. And one last perk, you won't have to hear this advertisement at the beginning of a show. Now let's get on with our regularly scheduled program.
Hello and welcome to Retrotopia. This is Sam, and today on the show we are talking Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door, episode number 36. This is, I think, one of the first couple of episodes where we've got our new introduction format where either Brian or I will take the introduction and then transition us into the game chat here. So, like I said, Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. And before we get into all of this, we would like you to join us on social media or in our Discord, and you can find the link to all of our socials on linktr.ee/Retrotopia. That's linktree/Retrotopia. And also you can join our brand new Patreon. That's patreon.com/Retrotopia. You can also find that link in the link tree. We have a free tier and a $2 tier where you will have access to all sorts of goodies. You can we'll be moving our comments on the shows and the Game of the Week over to Patreon. And then also you'll have access to some extra podcasts. So the Quick Play, and I believe, we've got Retro Bites. That's a new monthly show that we're going to be doing where we just kind of sit and talk about different gaming topics, you know, how things are going with us, kind of a way to relax for an hour or so and just enjoy ourselves a little bit there. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. We thanked our first batch of patrons on a previous episode, but we'd like to thank Chris from the Retro Hangover podcast, who also joined. So thank you, Chris. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate everyone's support, whether you're a paid Patreon member or whether you're just listening to the show or you've joined us in our Discord or whatever. We'll take your support, and we appreciate it. So thank you. I don't think we say this very often, but first we're very humbled and grateful to all of you who take the time to listen. And if you wouldn't mind, I noticed over on Spotify we've got a nice 5-star rating. So if you'd like, just rate and review the show 5 stars. We would really appreciate. We know it bumps the show up and helps other people discover the show. If you have any comments or criticism, please let us know. We have many avenues that you can get in touch with us all through the link tree, and I think we even on there have a excuse me, a little hiccup there. We also have a email address, a Gmail address. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's on the link tree. So excellent. Let's move forward because previously on our Discord, but by joining our Patreon, you can write into the show and ask us questions, make comments, or just give us a good old-fashioned ribbing. We call it the 8-Bit Banter Box, and it is culturally elegant, damn it. So our first comment here in the 8-Bit Banter Box comes from Raging Demon, and I'm going to try my best on this one. Bestest bumbling Ryan bamboozling blokes bloody brilliantly. What are your thoughts on the Sega Saturn? I am more interested to hear Sam's actually, since he has good taste in consoles. Thank you. And I couldn't agree more. Sorry if you had to read that bit first, Sam. I had to read the whole thing, Mr. Raging Demon. And yeah, I don't have too many thoughts on the Sega Saturn. I would love to get a little bit more into trying out some of those games, because that was, in the mid-90s, those consoles were kind of a dime a dozen. There was like the Atari Jaguar, and there was the Sega Saturn and the 32X and the Panasonic 3DO and all kinds of, I used to see them come and go in the, their own their sections of the gaming magazines, and to limited success in some cases. So there's some consoles out there that we just didn't have access to. If you were like me, I had one console pretty much at a time growing up. I think most of us did, although at one point I did have N64 and PlayStation, but I didn't get into the Sega Saturn after the Sega Genesis. So I'd love to try some more of those games. But yeah, I am Saturn positive. We're a Saturn positive podcast, I suppose. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm assuming that we are. All right, the next comes from Savagery482. Oh, and by the way, Raging Demon has the Commandless podcast, so if you are a fan of fighting games, check them out. They do a nice job over there. And then next up is Savagery42, Blaine the Hoagie Man, who says, "Dear friends, can someone explain to me why everyone boasts about a console that helped give Sega a terminal illness? Thanks in advance." I'm assuming maybe you're talking about the Saturn, or maybe it's the Dreamcast, kind of killing Sega's momentum a little bit. I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for that. I think, maybe just the marketing didn't break right, or they just didn't have the right games, or what. Maybe it was price point. I think, actually, I'll pump the tires for Retro Hangover. Chris does if you're a Patreon over there, he does a mini series called IO Saturnalia, and there's a really good. They're really quick episodes, but he's got a good kind of an overview of the Sega Saturn. A lot of Saturn talk here. I've never actually played a Saturn game, but I think it's either the Sega CD or maybe it is the Saturn. But there are some of those games are on the Genesis Mini 2 that I have. So maybe future episodes of the show here. I'm open to it. And then the last comment here comes from Wildcard, who said, "I was listening to another podcast." How dare you? Just kidding. And somebody on there asked a great question that I now want the answer to. Have either of you sharded? I would. God damn it. I would love moderately detailed stories from each of you. Well, Wildcard, you fucker. Yes, I have. And I will explain that I am, or was a little bit more in the past, but trying to get back into it. But I've run quite a bit, run outside, jogging or running. I'm a runner. And yeah, it happens. We'll leave it at that. Sometimes you think you're going to make it, and sometimes, well, you just don't. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that one. Thank you for your comment. Unbuckled Cape, who also listened. Gosh, I keep remembering everyone's got podcasts, and I love it. Savagery, Blaine the Hoagie Man just started a podcast called Retro Ridas, so go check them out. Listen to the first couple episodes that they put out, and you're doing good work over there, so keep it up. And then Unbuckled Cape, who is the host of the Unbuckled Comics podcast. Also a great show. If you enjoy comics and comic reviews, you should check him out. Now that you guys have a Patreon and are allowing paying members to select a game and host for a quick play, rad idea, by the way, thank you. I was wondering which of the three of you is the most likely to go scorched earth on a bad game. Just trying to narrow down who I want to torture when I make that jump. Me. Yeah. Me. That's the only answer. It's the short answer. It's the correct answer. But thanks for your support, Unbuckled. And that's it for the 8-Bit Banter Box. Thank you all for your comments, and thank you for your support. and we're going to move on to the game chat. But we want to let you know what we've been up to here. I have a couple of things. I've been like waiting to like get off my chest here because I keep making a note to like, bring this up on the intro, and I haven't done an intro in a minute. So bear with me just a moment. I want to first have a correction from the Castlevania Rondo of Blood episode.
I don't know. I looked it up on the Wikipedia.
Chris from the Retro Hangover podcast was kind enough to point out that the PC Engine Super CD-ROM is, in fact, a console. We got it as the TurboGrafx 16 in North America, and I think I either erroneously called it a PC or just said I wasn't sure, some sort of PC type thing, but I think that's kind of a misnomer. It is a console, and by all accounts, I was kind of like looking up a little bit more about it. It looked really ahead of its time. But yeah, anyways, Rondo of Blood. Great episode. Go listen to it. PC Engine Super CD-ROM, not a PC. It's like driving in a parkway and parking in a driveway or whatever. So anyways, thank you, Chris. And then I wanted to shout out, if you are in the southeastern Wisconsin or Milwaukee area like I am, I wanted to give a little bit of props here to Game Together MKE and Steve, the owner there. It is a great retro game shop. I've gone a few times, made a few purchases, done some trade-ins. It's great because we don't have a lot of retro shops around here that I know of. And, otherwise we've got GameStop or Mega Media Exchange, and those places rip you the hell off. So great place to go. He's got some arcade cabinets back there. He runs some game nights, I think. He's got some consoles set up for people to come in and play. He's just a great hang, good to talk to. Great displays. He's got a lot of stuff. He's constantly getting new stuff. So if you go in there and he doesn't have something that you're looking for, chances are he'll probably have it at some point soon. So fair prices, great trade value. Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield, Wisconsin, if you are looking for a great place to shop for your retro games. It's by the Denny's. Okay. Quick update on myself and gaming. We'll keep this real short because I already kind of said a bunch of stuff already. And you probably want to get to the Paper Mario chat. So not too much here, just it's hot. It's summertime, trying to get back into running, and I picked a really, really awesome time to do that because it's toasty out there. But been focusing on that. Work's been busy, but I've been trying to find some time to game. Most recently, I've gotten back into Final Fantasy VII Remake, which if you've listened previously or know or any of my comments, I'm not particularly a huge fan of that game so far, but I'm going to push through it because I want to play some other stuff, and I don't like to not finish stuff, especially with the kind of the weight of the characters and the story. I really want to push through it. So still working on that. And then also started playing Dragon Quest 3. That is so that I can join Mr. Daniel Carroll over at Retro Wars and talk about that game. I am emulating a translation of the Super Nintendo version, even though I have it on the remaster cartridge. But so far it's been interesting. I'm looking forward to the remake coming out that just got announced, that 2D HD remake. That looks absolutely amazing. And then also playing Super Mario Brothers 3. So 2-3 games. And that's for an upcoming episode. I'll save my thoughts on that for later. And yeah, that's I think good enough for now. So let's move on, and we will get in with Alan here and the Gentleman's Interlude about our game of the week, Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door.
Thank you, Sam. Allow me to present an exposition on the delightful video game known as Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Developed by the esteemed Intelligent Systems and published by the venerable Nintendo for the Nintendo GameCube in 2004, and subsequently remastered and re-released for the Nintendo Switch in 2024. Set within a whimsical paper-crafted universe, this role-playing game invites players to accompany our intrepid protagonist Mario on an adventure brimming with charm and intrigue. The game is notable for its innovative visual style, which renders characters and environments in a manner akin to a pop-up book, endowing the proceedings with a distinct and enchanting aesthetic. The narrative thrust of this adventure revolves around the eponymous Thousand-Year Door, a mystical portal concealed within the ancient town of Rogueport. Mario, ever the valiant hero, embarks on a quest to gather the 7 crystal stars required to unlock this enigmatic gateway, all while encountering a colorful cast of allies and adversaries. Gameplay is a masterful blend of turn-based combat and exploration, enriched by the inclusion of unique mechanics such as timed button presses to enhance attacks and defenses. Furthermore, the game encourages players to interact with the environment in myriad creative ways, leveraging Mario's ability to transform into various paper forms to solve puzzles and traverse obstacles. In summation, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door stands as a testament to Intelligent Systems' ingenuity and Nintendo's unwavering commitment to crafting experiences that are both engaging and visually arresting. It is a true paragon of its genre, offering an experience that is as intellectually stimulating as it is visually delightful.
All right, thanks, Alan. And man, I think because you send these to us to listen to before we do the episode, and I think you said narrative thrust again. Oh man, just chef's kiss. All right, now before myself and Brian get into this game, we have some comments from our listeners on the game of the day, and that's Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. We got let's see, is that 3? That's 3 comments. Thank you for writing in, by the way. And these are all pretty long comments. People have some things to say about this game. It is an important game. So, Savagery, Blaine the Hoagie Man says, one of my all-time favorite Mario adventures. It was crazy the amount of content that was put into this game. From the main hub known as Rogueport, which was its very own Mos Eisley, a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Nice. I also enjoyed the fact that you can hit different characters and places with your hammer, and the characters actually react to getting hit, and sometimes you can find hidden items if you hit the environments in the right places, which is just one of those details I love in games from this era that I wish they would bring back. The dialogue is charming and funny, and the combat is fun while not being too complicated. It's also been pointed out the final boss looks like something Sam Raimi would come up with. Yeah, I agree with just about all of this. I like your analogy of Mos Eisley being like Rogueport. That's excellent. Nice. But yeah, I like the dialogue. I like a lot about this game. So I agree. Thank you, Savagery. Unbuckled Cape writes in and says, memories. This was one of like 4 or 5 games I actually have for the GameCube. Nice. I have it complete in box too. Shall we start the bidding at $100 US? Yeah, you could. You might even go higher if you've got it complete in box, man. That's pretty awesome. Or just hang on to it. Anyways, fantastic game. He continues. Sorry, that was me in there. So Unbuckled continues. Anyway, this is a fantastic game and the best of the Paper Mario variety. It is also one I never actually beat back in the day because I never read any dialogue and would just wander around until I got bored and switched back to Smash Melee. Speaking of switched, I do plan on playing and completing the Switch port eventually. Yeah, it is. It's long, and yeah, you really do need the dialogue. So I wish you the best of luck. It is a charming little game. So get back to it, Mr. Unbuckled Cape, and finish this game. All right, and our last comment for Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door comes from Zodiac, who is Chris from the Retro Hangover podcast, he said, I wanted to like this game. I really did. The visuals are great, the writing is fantastic, and in a vacuum, the gameplay is great. But what made me become bored and frustrated was the fact that every single time you needed to go anywhere, you had to slowly travel to your destination, having access to the same abilities over and over again. While fighting enemies you should spend little time on, but having to go through the whole process of the involved and active battle system. Over time, the game's strength became its weaknesses for me. There were also parts that felt like they dragged on a bit too long, the arena and the train chapters in particular. But I know that would be subjective. I get why people love it, and I can't say it doesn't have a litany of high points. But when I was done, I was wishing I had played a more traditional JRPG instead. All valid points. It is a beautiful game. It's well written. It's got engaging gameplay. It's got great dialogue. It's got great visuals. It's got great music, especially in the HD remaster version. But yes, Brian and I get into it. There are some parts that are pretty slow. So we will talk about that. And thank you for everyone who wrote in. It's great to hear your thoughts, and now a little music. And when we return from the musical break, we will be talking about Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo for the GameCube in 2004 and re-released for the Switch in 2024.
All right, as we've already discussed, we are talking Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, recently released on Switch, but originally on the GameCube. And Sam, what is your initial thoughts on this game?
Oh, you know what? I was if you're in our Discord, you'll know too. I was ragging on it a little bit. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, because this game came in with a lot of hype and a lot of anticipation. But as I'm kind of thinking about it, and I've sat now for probably over a week that I haven't played it, and I finished it. I did enjoy the ending, but it's not a bad game. It's
No, it's a
good.
nice, yeah. It's Paper Mario is kind of a follow up to Super Mario RPG in the
Hmm.
sense that it's the Mario RPG series. But my favorite is Super Paper Mario on the Wii. That one I found to be a really good game. This one, probably a close second. It was
I'd love to play that Wii one. I've never played the Wii one.
oh, it's really fun because you use the Wiimote to kind of look through the walls and stuff like that.
Ugh.
Some good. Oh, actually, that's the only time you use the Wiimote. Other than that,
Okay.
you turn it sideways and you play it like a video game.
Oh my god, yes. Like it is actually, not like
Yeah,
some sort of jack off apparatus.
yeah. So it
Fucking Wii.
uses it in an interesting way, but that's we'll get into that someday once we force you to buy a Wii again.
Oh,
But we're
I
talking,
got ways.
yeah.
I got ways to acquire a Wii. I can get you a Wii. I get a Wii.
There we go. All right. Anyways, Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door, released on the GameCube, second of the series, considered probably the best by many people. I liked it, but it did not hit the same. Like, I was really into this game the first time I played it when it first came out, but this time it
Hmm.
just didn't hit the same. I found it hard to get into, get through the first level and beat Hooktail, and then kind of halfway through the game is when it kind of clicked over to me. And then, of course, you get on the train and it kills its momentum. But
The
we'll get into
train.
the levels. But
I like the
no,
train. This is like
the,
this is gonna be a hot take. It's like I'm like the opposite. Like I like all the shit that everyone probably hates and
well, the
get
train
irritated with the
wasn't
stuff.
bad. It was just a lot of back and forth, and then
It
find
is,
the
yeah.
one thing that you had to, or trigger the event. I'll get it when we get to the train. I'll tell you why I found it annoying.
Here's
But
the thing. Here's the thing I think I did. Sorry to yeah,
no,
just
you
real
go.
quick. If you come at this game with the perspective that you're gonna play like a fun, challenging video game, it is fun, but it's not particularly challenging. It's not
No,
really
it's
meant to be
not.
challenging. Um, I think you have to come at it from the perspective that you're like playing a little Mario storybook, and then it becomes a lot more fun to engage with. And I think that's where I kind of changed my mindset partway
Yeah,
through and started
and you
to
know
enjoy
what?
it more.
That's kind of a great place to start too. Let's talk about the
Yes.
graphics, the paper
Yes.
like the graphics where everything is designed to look like it is ripped out of a pop-up book, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that aesthetic.
Me
Honestly, I
too.
find it works really well for this game. Instead of them trying to force kind of a 3D-ish thing, they just do the paper backgrounds and the paper stage, the paper characters. Everything just looks like it's out of a pop-up book, like I said.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing is like, yeah, you can do 3D. You just have like they made things look like it was popping out of the screen, but just like folded paper, like a folded box of paper, or
Yeah.
the stairs had like a particular quality where like the edges were kind of frayed. It just looked so good.
Yeah, and it played into some of the secrets as well because you'd be walking by something and you see a folded piece of paper, and then you take the one character, what's her nuts there,
No, Tits
Madame
McGee.
yeah, Madame Flurry there, and you would use her wind attack, and would blow the piece of paper away and reveal the secret behind it. It was actually
Yeah,
kind of a neat mechanic.
I love those. And it's like all of your little another thing I liked was a lot of different partner characters. I think this had one or two more maybe partner characters than the original Paper Mario on the 64.
Oh,
But
I
I could be
can't
wrong.
remember.
I could be wrong about that. But yeah, you get like a cast of probably 6 allies that you can bring with you. You could swap them out in the battle. They walk around with you on the screen, and they each have like different abilities that can help you either access more parts of the map or retrieve items or all sorts
Sounds
of
like
things.
sounds like you didn't find the secret character.
Was there a secret? Fucking what? Who's the secret character? Come on.
Well,
No, there's not.
then we'll
Shut
finish
up.
with
I'm
yeah,
looking
we'll
this up.
finish with the graphics here, and
Yeah, now I'm
I want
all
to talk
fired
about the
up.
battle. Like I want to talk about the battle screen there on a stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that was actually a neat mechanic. Gives you that sense of this is actually all just a gigantic ass play rather than actually happening. So it makes it feel more like a storybook.
Yeah, it's like play acting, storybook, like different gosh, yeah, just stickers, just kids, it's like kids stuff, but it's fun
Yeah,
and it's interesting to look at and engage with. I liked how they use um the stage and the audience to feel like the little star meter thing on top. I don't think they did that in the first one. There is a
that
star meter, but I don't think it's fueled by like people
an
watching your
audience.
battle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me so long to realize that the star meter filling up was actually my special attack. Um, I didn't realize it until probably the last quarter of the game that I could actually use these stars I gathered to do different types of attacks. And the only one I really used was the healing one.
Oh, the healing one's really good. Unless you hit
Oh
those
yeah,
fucking green mushrooms that are in there. It's like,
yeah,
why are those in there? Just give me one thing that's pure.
yeah. So what he's
Without
talking about is when you use
yeah.
this special attack, all these little stickers of Mario and your second partner and the flower for your flower power will fall from the top of the stage,
Hmm.
and you have the ability to throw, I guess, whatever at it. And when you hit them, it gives you back your health or your flower power, which again is used for your special moves. And there's these poison mushrooms that come down. And if you hit the poison mushroom, you pause long enough
Yeah.
to frustrate you as you watch all your health and flower power float away.
Yeah, because I would do that with the intent of like needing a specific thing. Either, not usually hearts for Mario, is usually pretty good there, but like hearts for my ally or flower power so I could do more shit. And it's like I'd hit that green mushroom and then like 5 flowers would drop in behind it. God damn it. That was the whole reason I did this.
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but that is a cool thing because you have like everything, it's turn based, but everything is just interactive in some way. Um, it does get a little bit repetitive, but it's engaging in the sense that everything you do has either like a timed button combination or something that you can do to add a little bit of extra damage to an attack or um well
A second
basically yeah,
hit, basically.
a
Yeah.
second hit or more health out of a healing thing or whatever, what have you. It's just really cool, and each one's different and uses different mechanics like hitting A or
Yeah, and
hitting
some
a
of them
different
are
button.
Yeah, some of them are unusable because I still to this day have no idea how to use Madame Flurry's gust attack to blow the enemies off the screen.
Oh, I figured it out. You have to like when the A button goes down, you have to be holding it and then you let go when
Oh,
so it just kind of like slowly rises. It doesn't like rise consistently. It rises and then goes down, kind of like a breath.
okay. That
But yeah, that was a hard one to sometimes like you get like a new ability or a new ally or whatever and you try to use their thing and I would just like immediately fail at whatever their special move is
yeah,
like, well fuck. I
yeah,
wasn't
no, but
ready.
well, in the battles, I mean, I had my two staple characters, and we'll get into the characters after the battle talk. But basically, you get a Yoshi, and he does like this. He can gulp and then spit the character out, and hit the
Mhm.
one behind him. He was pretty much my go-to guy, and then the other one was Bobbery, the
Oh yeah, the
uh
bomb
the
guy.
bomb. Yeah, he would just blow shit up, and I liked him because he could get an attack that would do massive amounts of damage because he would just like fuck shit up with this giant explosion, and it cost you 9 flower points. So
And I liked his are you talking about the one where I like the one where he lobs the little bombs and they go off like a couple turns later.
yeah,
I always
that's
found that was like a good cleanup.
when you get like when you level him up, you can level him up a second time, and he gets this massive bomb attack.
Okay, yeah, maybe I missed
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, that's what all those star things you have to find are the ones that look like they're from Mario Galaxy, I think.
yeah, I think I the star shines. I think I upgraded everyone once. I don't know if I did it a second
Well,
time. There might have been some.
you had to find a secret to be able to upgrade everybody a second time. So,
Yeah, I didn't.
my God, no wonder
And I'm
you're
good.
having such problems at the end.
I wasn't having any problems at the end, was I?
Oh, you started fuck this last enemy, but
Oh no, yeah, it does something that I really didn't appreciate. Was it the
uh,
last boss or was it the one before that?
maybe. But we'll
Yeah.
spoil everything at the end here for those who haven't played it because they should. I honestly think everybody should give this game a go. It's definitely worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I think so too. And they did I mean, I've not played the GameCube version. I don't know if you remember graphically, like we go back to graphics real quick. I mean, they remastered this. Does it really look that much better than the GameCube version or is this pretty much, they charge full price for it. So I don't know if
Yeah.
they did I think they did a significant overhaul on the graphics.
Well, they also upgrade the music and stuff like that. So I mean, graphically, the game is not too graphically intensive because it's paper characters that don't have a lot of movement. So everything
Right.
is just stationary. So not a lot of stuff is swaying around. So you don't have to, build like 15 sprite models for every position it's going to be in.
No, but they did give it the old HG
HG.
HD shine. That's hard to
High
say.
definition.
I get HD shine. They did. They gave it a polish up, and it looks really
Yeah.
good.
Well, there's one of the badges you can get in the Rogueport there that'll
Yeah,
actually change the music back to the GameCube music, and you can tell the difference. Like it is noticeably different from the GameCube to this remaster.
yeah. I put that badge on. It's a free badge. You don't have to use any of your badge points, but I put it on just to listen to it for a bit, and I was like, nah, I'll just go. The new music is better.
Yeah, that's
It really
basically it. I
was.
put it on just to listen to it, but no, reality is they really did a good job upgrading the music. But what about the characters? Who was your staple in your battle party?
Oh yeah, let me see. Oh well, once I got the bomb guy, he was pretty much my guy because um he could take out those tougher enemies, and you didn't have to worry about like, oh, this one can't jump on someone with spikes or whatever. You just kind of like walk up and blow up, or you could lob those. Like I said, you could lob those little bombs into
Yeah,
their midst. I like that too. Although I sometimes I would fuck up and like throw a bomb straight up in the air and it would just like land in front of Mario and you could
yeah.
hurt yourself with the bombs.
That's kind of why I stopped using that one is because I wasn't good at throwing them.
Yeah, I
Um,
would screw it up.
yeah, I hurt myself more often than I hurt the bad guys. So I just said screw it. His bomb attack is pretty good for the enemies that have spikes on their head, and that's all I did.
Yeah, Admiral Bobbery, that's the guy.
Yeah,
Um I liked Vivian. The little
Did you?
ghost witch, and then I liked Yoshi Kid. I think those were my favorites. But
Yeah. What did
Koops
you
was
name your
always
Yoshi? Because you
oh
get to name your Yoshi in
yeah.
this game when he hatches. So, and you can get a different color Yoshi depending on how long you let him marinate in the egg.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
got
So,
mine was green, and I called him Blaze. He just looked like a
uh,
blaze.
I had a red one and I called him Yosh Dog.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it's like I was like trying to think of like because it's during the portion of the game where you're going through that like wrestling tournament,
Oh
and
yeah.
so I was like, what's a cool like Blaze, like some sort of cool like ring name. Yeah, that's what I gave him.
The other characters you can get, you start off with Goombella, just a female Goomba with a miner's hat on top of her head and a light that she never uses. Her skill is absolutely garbage. She can
Yeah.
tell you what people are thinking, and it does not come in handy at all. I never used it, but her good part is when you start the game from a save point, you can hit the left trigger, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll actually kind of tell you what you should do next
Yes, I always use that. Like
every
even
time.
yeah, after saves and like even if I'm just there were a couple points in the game when I got stuck like, oh, where do I go now? I forgot I wasn't paying attention or whatever, and I just hit that trigger and she'd be like, oh, shouldn't we go talk to so and so? And I was like, goddamn Goombella, right you are.
Yeah, her ultra rank attack was also pretty useful. Her second level up there, it was called a rally wink, and it gives Mario a second attack. So she's not
Oh
very
shit.
strong, but you load Mario up with badges, and then she gives him a second attack, and he just absolutely wipes people out. It
Yeah.
was a great combo.
Yeah, that's cool. I wish I would have been able to figure out the because I was like, I had upgraded everyone, and then I was thinking, why am I still finding all these star shines? Did
Yeah,
they put
well,
like extra ones in the game, or?
that's what I thought too. Then I remembered you actually have to run to the farthest right side of Hooktail's castle,
Of
and
course you
behind
do.
a wall is a chest with this thing you get, and you bring it back to the guy who upgrades everybody, and it's like, hey, it's a new crystal ball. Now I can upgrade everybody again.
Oh,
Then you
but you
spend,
have to go. Of course, in classic, fashion for this game, you have to go back to a place that you've already been, and you have to go all the way to the fucking left or right, and like look behind some shit that you probably wouldn't. It's just fucking goddamn it.
oh yeah, that happens a couple of times, but this was an optional thing though. There's
Well,
one
right,
point, yeah.
but still, yeah,
Uh, all right, moving on. We also got Coops. Coops was useful for his shell, where you could jump on him and it would shoot out and grab items at the same level as he was.
yeah. When you're on basically like the overworld or like walking around,
Yeah.
yeah,
Early in the game, he was good because he had an attack that would hit all the enemies. So he was pretty good to upgrade early and, you know, badge him up to make him a little stronger there just to wipe out some of the weaker enemies. Other than that,
yeah.
absolutely nothing I found useful for him in the late game.
No, the only thing I would swap him in for is like if I needed his shell, that particular type of attack
Yeah, yeah.
for a
Because he
certain
can't
enemy.
hit
But
jumping enemies or flying
right,
enemies, sorry.
right.
So yeah, because he's a ground and pound, whereas other people are jumps. Like Madame Flurry, who is you call Big Boob McGee or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you find her. I can't remember which level you find her in, but she was an actress who left the stage. Oh, sorry, she's in Bogley Woods. That's right. So we'll get to the levels later, but just remember Bogley Woods because that's where you find Madame Flurry, and she's just a ghost, you know, of larger proportions, big lips, and she was an actress. Her attack is a body slam. She was good when I had her at the beginning, good for flying enemies because Goombella
hmm
is actually pretty weak by this point. On that, again, never used her.
yeah. That body slam was good, but I was frustrated with it at first because that there's like a her little like quick time event for her attack is to put like a little X inside of a circle, and it's like floating around so weird. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's inverted or what, but oh
Oh, I think it
fuck.
always constantly tries to push away, and then you just have to move it into the circle there. And yeah, it gets annoying. I only missed it once, but I didn't like doing it.
Yeah, I really hated it. And it was always like if I thought about it too much, I would fuck it up.
Yeah, And
Just the
yeah,
worst.
no, I stopped using her as soon as I got the next one, which is Yoshi Kid, or as I called him, Yosh Dog, or you called him Blaster,
Blaze. Blaze.
Blaze. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So Yoshi again, he has multiple colors. I think I can't remember how many colors there are, but I think it's around 6 or 7. Um, he has 3 attacks that I use constantly. The ground pound, which is a 5 or 6 hit, depending on what level you're at. Jump attack. He had the gulp, where he swallowed the first person in the line of enemies and spit them out to injure both the first person and the second person. And
Yeah.
his ultra attack was a stampede, where he calls on just a shit ton of Yoshis, and they just damage everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I never saw that one. I didn't
that
use them
was.
all that much.
And his attacks were easy. The ground pound, you just tap the Z button, or Z as you say in the United States.
We do say Z. Yeah.
The gulp, you held the Z button, and then the stampede, you just alternated the L and the L and the. I guess the right trigger would be the Z button in this case, but yeah, you just alternated the L and the R buttons, and then uh, yeah, they would fill up a gauge, and they would all come running, and they would just damage stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I gotta, if I ever play this game again, I gotta make sure to go all the way back and get the fucking crystal ball.
It actually
But
took no time at all because the enemies are stupidly weak by that point,
oh
and you can
yeah,
just.
I did like, you get that badge. You get, there's a,
Oh
okay, so you
yeah,
can wear badges, but you can get a badge where if an enemy is weak enough and you smack them with the hammer,
yeah, you kill
you
'em.
get to skip the battle and it just, yeah, kills them. You get a coin, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Next one is Vivian. She is the ghost character. I don't know. Is she a ghost or a ghoul? Shadow
They're like,
Sister. That's
yeah, they're like little ghosty witches. There's 3 of them. So they're, it's kind of
yeah,
like the 3 fates or like the furies or whatever, like from mythology. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah, and she has been confirmed in this game to be a transgender character.
Yeah, there was
So
that little throwaway line where she said like I wanted to be a boy, but my sisters called me a girl or something. Did something weird like that. It was not that being transgender is weird, but like the throwaway line was like, um,
it was more
yeah,
along the lines of I always wanted to be a girl, but my sisters call me a boy, and then she's like, never mind about that. So
that's what it was. Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
it was a big thing. It was kind of popping up all over the internet before the game was released because it was kind of hinted at it in the GameCube version, but I guess it was just
hmm
confirmed this time. And her attacks, Shade Fist, she can light enemies on fire. That's always fun. I didn't use her after that.
yeah. I like that it burned. Her little shade fist thing burned the enemy. So if you
Yeah,
time
that
it
was
right,
nice.
you always get the 4 or 5 damage or however much it does, but then it also, if you hit the correct button, it gives you that little extra damage from fire, which is cool.
Yeah, and her overworld skill was she was a shadow, so you could actually sink into the ground. And I learned a little bit too late that you can use that to avoid spikes.
Yes.
Um, so the spike would come up, you turn into a shadow in the ground. The spikes don't hurt you; they disappear. You get up, take 3 steps, repeat until you're past the spikes. It makes it so much easier.
Oh, I also, you could, because Mario himself has some abilities, and one of them is to like turn sideways to become flat, like
Yeah,
perpendicular to the screen, and that's what I did. But it's cool that you can use the shadow too, because that shadow sneak, um, I love the way that they used it to do puzzles on like either in the dungeons or the overworlds. So um, there's one part where there's like a cage or like a movable wall that you have to push, but there's no way to get past it through to the other side. You can only push it. Well, you push it up a little bit and then you use that shadow thing and the wall passes over you. Like that kind of
yeah,
stuff was really, really clever use of that ability. I thought it was fun.
yeah. Um, Next one is Admiral Bobbery, my favorite character of all. You know, old salty sea captain or admiral, I
Oh,
guess in this
you
case,
almost said salty seaman.
salty seaman. But you
Yeah,
did say it.
I did. I
Yeah,
said it. All right.
another episode without making reference to a penis.
Oh, so much for that.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, he's a bomb. You recruit him to go to the tropical island. Of course, he gets shipwrecked there. His ability is to blow up stuff on the overworld map. His attacks are all bomb related, so his First attack is just to blow himself up. Sam was talking about the bomb squad where you have these little bombs you can launch towards your
Yeah.
enemies, or if you fuck up, right back at yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
It was about
then
50-50 for me.
yeah, then his ultra attack is called bombast, and it is just a massive explosion that deals damage to everybody on the screen, except for
Even yourself?
no, not yourself. Sorry,
Oh, that's
all the
nice.
enemies on the screen, and it does a good amount of damage too. But it costs a lot of flower points.
Yeah, I see that. 9, huh?
And do you
Jeez.
remember a little mouse character named Miss Mouse?
Yes, I do. I see that she is the secret
Optional
character.
character, yeah. She is. She'll find hidden stuff for you as you progress through levels. I didn't actually get her before ending the game, but I did initiate her quest after the end credits, so I can still get her. Um, I have nothing to say about her. I didn't like her character in the game. It was just kind of annoying, but she is what she is.
Yeah, the master thief. Um yeah, one thing I'll say about the characters that's kind of related to story is some of them had some um well, the characters themselves, but then also just in general, some of the story elements were like fairly dark.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was a little surprised, like,
Well,
um,
Coops comes with a bandage on his face there, so I'm like,
yeah, like he's
what's
been
that
beat
about?
up and bullied. Like obviously Vivian is transgender and bullied by her sisters, which is unfortunate. Then you've got Admiral Bobbery, like doesn't want to sail at first because he like his wife died. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is Paper Mario, right? Like what the fuck? Um, I don't think Madame Flurry had anything like particularly.
Oh, she quit the stage because she was overwhelmed, and she hid away in Buggery Woods or whatever. And
I mean, well, okay, so I mean, there's like little like elements of depression there. If she's like,
yeah, hiding
it's
away from
like
society. I don't disagree with that move.
my god, like and like the only one that really didn't have anything like dark was like Goombella's just like kind of carefree, happy-go-lucky student character. Just really interesting. I didn't expect that at all. And even like we'll talk about the final boss and stuff, but like even that some of that stuff, like the side quest stuff where like you're playing a little bit as Peach just to advance the story in between.
Oh, the
Um
interludes between the chapters. Yeah,
yeah, her interaction with like the computer that falls in love with her and like then sacrifices itself. It's like good lord. Spoiler alert, sorry, but
yeah. If you didn't want to hear that, go back 1 minute and then skip ahead 2 minutes.
well, I've just played Chrono Trigger, so hop in the epoch and go back 1 minute to where you didn't know that, and then you'll be fine. Or you'll just be fine anyways.
Exactly. Oh man. So one of the things you do after leveling up your character, because you get 100 they're not stars. What are they? Fuck. What are the experience points in this? Oh, they're like little circles with stars in them. So yeah, they're just basically experience points, and you need
Yeah,
100 to
there's like
level up.
star points. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you progress through the games, enemies from earlier on give you less and less star points. So it's balanced out, so you can't just beat up the first Goomba and beat the game at level 100.
Yeah, you
Um,
can't there's no grinding in this game.
no, no, there isn't. One of the things you get three options when you level up to upgrade your hearts, your flower
Mhm.
points, or your battle points. And the battle points let you equip badges.
Yes.
And there is a ton of badges you can get. I'm looking at the list right now. I'm not going to go through them all. Sam, what was your loadout?
Let's go through all the badges.
All right, the first one's called All or Nothing.
This is
Aptly
going to be
named.
we've got a 6-part Paper Mario episode. This part, we are going to go through every single badge and discuss them. Actually, my loadout, I would usually, okay, if I leveled up, I found the game to be easy enough that I usually wasn't dying or like running low on hit points or flower points. So I would tend to load up on badge points when I leveled up. And that way I also upgraded my hit points and my flower points via badges because you can
Yeah,
pick
that
up those
was
kind of badges. So I always had like one or two of those. And then some of the attacks, like I made sure I had my like hammer throw attack and the quake hammer and that kind of stuff. I also threw on the badge that I think it raised Mario's attack power. I
Yeah,
had the
there's a
one that,
couple.
yeah, and then also the one that reduced the number of flower points required to use your specials. So like my
Yeah,
loadout was, I'm proud of my loadout. It
there
was
is
toy.
one badge that's the Jumpman, where you get your jump attack boosted by one power point, but you
Yes, that
lose
was
your
a good
hammer
one.
attack. You combo that with the one where you can't be burnt, like the ice power, and the one where you can jump on spiked enemies,
Yes.
and it just becomes like an insanely powerful attack.
Yeah, then you
And then
just
you,
don't need the hammer anyways, because the
yeah,
whole reason for the hammer is to, like, there are enemies that have little spikes, like little like Goombas with little spike helmets, or um, enemies that are on fire you can't jump on, or ice I think freeze you, right? Those hurt you
yeah,
too. Yeah,
some
that's a
ice,
cool
but
tactic.
that was the way I did it. I had the Quake Hammer for a while just to knock over some of the enemies you have to flip before you can hurt them.
Hmm.
Then I put the Peekaboo badge when I got it, so you always see the hit points of the enemies, and it helped with the
Yes,
bosses because
I like
it
that
would
too.
let you decide if you're going to go after like the appendages or the actual main boss. And because of that, I was able to beat the final boss without wasting too much time on the appendages. So
Ugh, yeah, talk about appendages, like between this and then immediately playing Chrono Trigger afterwards, I'm about done with fucking appendages. Like everything's got appendages.
yeah.
Oh man.
Other than that, no, there's no other badge that really stood out. A lot of them were just increase your hammer power, or give you kind of a new hammer ability or a new jump ability.
Yeah.
Then there was partner badges that would give basically the same thing could give Mario just to your partner who was there. Nice thing was it didn't equip to a specific partner. It equipped to
Right.
whoever was like your secondary.
Yeah, and you kind of burn a turn doing it, or part of your turn doing it, but you can freely swap them in the battle, and I like that.
Yeah, and that came in handy because I would try to like I started understanding the enemies as I went through the game, so I did swap over to the proper guy to be my secondary before I jumped into the battle, and that would usually
Right.
give me the advantage. But there's a couple of times, yeah, we had to swap out because they're low on health or whatever.
Yeah, no random encounters is just
Oh, it's great, and
very,
you
it's
can
great.
hit them with a hammer or jump on them
Mhm.
with the same handicaps. It's kind of like you can't jump on a spike character, but if you hit them and you got the first attack, you would go into the battle screen. You would take either the hammer or the jump, whichever one you hit them with, and that would get you the first attack. And you could actually use that to beat enemies before they could attack back.
Right. And I like that when the flying enemies would see you on the screen, they'd usually like swoop down. You could hit them with the hammer at their low point when they swoop, and then they're low enough when you start the battle that you can at least hit them with the hammer. And I like that. It's not
Yeah,
like, oh, you chose the hammer. Well, that's a flying enemy, so you're shit out of luck. Unlike the jump, I would see an enemy come through and not realize too late that it had spikes and be like, oh, enemy. And I jump on it. And then I'd be like, fuck.
I just hit
Because
everybody with the hammer.
yeah, I tended to use the hammer, but sometimes it was like, I don't know, just platformer wise, my instinct is just to jump. Oh man, just
I always hit. I don't know. I always hit the
don't
hammer button
just
just because that was the button my thumb was always on,
yeah, that's true. But it's like just don't jump on the spiky ones. Just don't do it.
or the ones that are on fire
Yeah,
without
that
the
too.
proper badge
Oh
equipped.
yeah, having that badge was the best because actually jumping on some of those enemies was a more effective way to take them out quickly.
Yeah, my jump was more powerful than my hammer, and I mean, the only advantage of the hammer was the ultra hammer, where you had the attack that would knock the enemy back into the other enemies. But again, high cost to use.
Yeah. Oh, did you find in the battles if you were trying to, this came in way handy in the end when you're fighting some of the tougher bosses, but I would want to charge my star power on the stage, and you got like when you're fighting every turn, especially if you execute your your secondary little attack, like you jump and then you jump again by timing your button press correctly, it'll say nice on the screen, and then I think you get some extra little star points, whatever, for to charge your super special attacks or
Yeah, you
whatever.
could also do a stylish jump. So if you
Yes, that's what I
the
was
only
going
one,
for.
yeah, the only one I could do was Mario's initial jump. You
Yeah.
hit the A button when you're at the apex or the highest point of his bounce. You hit the A button again. He just like flats out belly flops on the enemy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah. And then in the hammer too, like you could swing the hammer and he would smack it, and then if you hit A right away after the hammer fell, he would do like a backflip away from the enemy, and it would say like excellent or like little like stylish or whatever, and
yeah,
then you'd get like extra like star points. So I
yeah,
started doing that towards the end because I really wanted to charge up and use like some of the more powerful special moves.
yeah. The special moves, like I said, I didn't realize I had them until the latter half of the game. There, sweet, like there's two recovery ones, Sweet Treat and Sweet Feast. I explained earlier they both operate the same. You just kind of fire stuff at badges that come down that look like Mario and his partner in flowers. Uh, but there's an earth tremor, which obviously is a earthquake, which could have come in very handy. Clock
Yeah,
out to
that's a handy
immobilize
one.
people. Power lift, which boosts your attack and defense, which would have been handy. One called Art Attack, I actually started using a lot. And it's where you draw a
I
circle around the enemies
yes,
and it hurts them.
I use
Uh,
that all the time, especially when there was a group of particularly annoying enemies, like
yeah,
if there were like 4 storm clouds or something like that, and I was just like, fuck this shit. And then I would just use Art Attack and draw like 4 circles around them and they would all die.
yeah. I just
What
drew
a
big
great
circles.
attack. What a great
Um,
attack.
it was wonderful. I love that one. There's also Showstopper, which is supposed to stop all the enemies. And there's thought there was one that had. Oh, I think the Showstopper also has the ability to potentially kill everybody on the screen, like a low chance.
Yes.
Then there was Supernova. I used it only once, and it's tap
Oh,
A.
I
And
used it all the time.
did you? Yeah, it
Yeah.
just draws a bunch of lines across the screen, and you have to do it like I think 4 or 5 times, and if you get all five, it gives you the most powerful attack, and it's just a couple of hits, and it's pretty strong.
It's a great, yeah, I used it on the final boss a bunch. Like kind of my strategy was geared towards using that supernova, and when I was doing my regular attacks, cuz the final boss would heal itself, I would just try to do enough so that I could um build up the star points and get like the little extra stylish flips or whatever. And then as soon as I could do it, I was like supernova. And that's actually like um I timed it so that the supernova was like my final attack of the game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was
Uh,
cool.
I just basically used Bobbery there to blow up the appendages, and then Mario to jump on the final boss, and yeah, that's how I did it. Just it was a battle of attrition.
Well, it was 4th of July here this past week, so we've been using bombs to blow off our appendages down here too.
PTSD, PTSD. But yeah. What else can we talk about?
I think we got to talk about these levels.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking of going to. I was just trying to see if we had anything to talk about before we kind of got into the meat and potatoes of everything. Oh,
I think
here's a
it's meat and
question.
potatoes time. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many in passes did you use? Because you got about 3 or 4 of them through the game, and it gives you a free night at the end. Did you use yours, or did you put them in your storage and forget about them?
I threw them away for the most part. Like they would sit in my. If I had one, I would use one. If I was actually at an inn, um, but like most of the time, they were just sitting in my inventory, and then I would pick something up that I actually wanted to keep, and I would
Yeah,
end up just throwing away the in pass.
yeah. 15
Um,
item limit was not enough for everything you wanted to do. Like I was just
not
healing
at
items.
all.
That's all I was.
It was mostly healing items. There's a ton of different items that you can use to do different things. Like there's like a fire flower, the dizzy dial, like all the favorites from from Paper Mario 64 are in this. And I think there's some extra
Yeah,
like the sleepy sheep and all that stuff. But I didn't use those because I had my good attacks. Then I was just using healing items, and I would carry like as many as I could.
yeah.
And then
Exactly.
and
I had
yeah,
ultra mushrooms and not maple syrup. What's stronger than maple syrup?
The honey
Fuck.
syrup. There's like the honey syrup one or whatever.
By the way, jamming jelly, which restores
Jam and
50
jelly.
FP. Yeah,
Yep.
that 50 hit points and 50 FP. That's all you needed. And if I got one of those special items that kind of healed both, I kept that. And
Oh yeah, those were good too. Like even it was just like 5 and 5. It was like I'll still take
yeah,
it. But then I was never wanting for coins. That was the thing. Like yeah, I could get this in pass or I could, pick up this item or that item or whatever, but it's like there was always like a heart box and a save point before an important, either an important part of the level or they would just be kind of like interspersed throughout. And it was like what, 10 coins to heal myself? Yeah, I'll take that. I've got like
yeah,
1,000 coins.
yeah. Pretty much, there was no like struggle for money in this game at all.
No.
No, no, it was. Yeah, I was all I remember is every time I got one of those in vouchers, I was always near a town, so I'd go to the shop and I'd just put it in my storage, and I think I had 4 or 5 in there by the time I was done the game, and I just kept forgetting about them.
Yeah, I think I used one and I threw away all the rest of them.
Yeah, I thought I would have to hoard them because it would become super important. Little did I know it didn't.
Right. And it's like just in classic RPG fashion, the inn always does the same thing. Your characters go to bed and you heal all of your magic points and your hit points or whatever. But usually there is one town that's run down, or there's one town that's like a little bit more bougie than the other ones, so like it ranges anywhere between like 5 coins to 30 coins or whatever
Yeah,
to
it's never too
yeah.
expensive because by that point you're making about 10, 15 coins a fight anyways.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
also this thing in battle. I don't remember how I got it, but it was this guy that would show up and give you a boost. And it'd be this cutscene where like this box appears, translucent
Yes,
box, and
I
it
got that
opens
too.
up. And he's like, here's more attack, or here's more defense, or when it's over, it's like, here's double your experience point. I leveled
That
up
was
so many
great.
times that
Yes.
way.
There was one time that it popped in after like I don't know if it was after a boss battle, but it was after like a maybe like a mid boss where like you usually get like a little bit extra star points. It was like 40 star points for this random battle. I was like, okay.
I had one that happened and I got 66 star points, pushing me to the level up, which I needed in order to make it through the next part of the game because I was running low on health.
Nice. Yeah. And then whenever you level up, you heal all of your star. Yeah.
Yeah,
Heal yourself and your star points
your
or
flower
your
points and
flower
everything
points.
just
Yeah.
loads right up. No, it was
And the star
yeah,
too. It loads up your star meter.
yeah. So you have all your
Yeah.
magic back and stuff like
Everything.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
you
yeah,
level up in this game, you're ready to fucking rock.
yeah. But before we get into the levels, last point, the star pieces, the little pieces you use to take down to the underworld and buy those extra badges, like the more
Yes.
specialized badges.
Mhm.
Um, hidden all over the place. You find them behind trees, behind rocks. You find them behind pillars, or you hit the floor and it flips up and pops one out of the floor in certain spots. Did you hunt them down like in obvious spots? Because there are spots where you're like, "Oh my god, I could walk behind here. I wonder what's going to be here." And blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
there's a star piece.
Oh, and like no joke. Anytime you can walk behind anything in this game, there is probably a star piece. There's like a 60% chance that there's a star piece behind it.
Yeah,
Um yeah, it was fine. Like I didn't realize where you traded them in until late in the game, but by that point I had picked up a whole bunch of them, and it's the same as Paper Mario 64. You can pick those up there too. They're hidden in a much similar way. Yeah, it's fine. There's some good badges in that badge shop. That kind of the trip to that badge shop right before I embarked on like kind of the end game portion, uh, just touched up my badge strategy a little bit. Like I found a couple things. It's like, oh, I'll swap these things out, and my
yeah,
my loadout
that's
will be just a little bit better.
pretty much how it worked for me as well. I collected them for a long time, forgot that I had to go trade them in, and then I was just happened to be in the area, and I talked to the guy. He's like, "Hey, you got star pieces," and then I was like, "Oh shit, yeah."
Yeah,
So
I
it
do
comes in
have
handy
those.
for some boosts, but you can live without it if you forget for half the game.
Yeah, for more than half the game in my
Yeah.
case.
So speaking of half the game, let's start with Rogueport. I always call it
Yeah, Rogueport.
Rogueport.
Rogueport. Rogueport. It's a cool little hub.
Yeah, it's where
I don't.
everything happens in the game. You always go back to Rogueport.
Yeah, I like Rogueport as a hub. I thought it had a lot more character than the. I think in Paper Mario 64, which is my only other Paper Mario reference point, but like um in Paper Mario 64, you're in just like a Toad Town or something like that, and that's kind of your hub, and it's not as interesting as this. Obviously, they had more hardware to work with, so they could build it
Yeah.
out more. But
Well,
it
this one
was,
also houses the underground sewers and the Thousand Year Door itself.
yeah, the underground sewers I thought was a really cool way to get to a lot of the different places in the map, or just in the game.
Yeah, and we
I like that.
gotta, yeah, we have to perfect pipe travel technology because Mario gets to places real fast.
Yeah, he really does. I mean,
Yeah,
I wish we had like a pipe outside my house and I could come to your house and vice versa. We could do
yeah,
these in
exactly.
person.
Friggin'
And then
A.
we could also install another one in the UK
Exactly, and
and
then
then get
Alan in on it.
immediately hit by a car because they're coming from the other direction.
Yeah, but I looked left. Oh, wrong side of the road, mate.
God
It's
damn it.
Australia, isn't it?
A
Anyways,
little bit.
yeah. So when you enter Rogueport, you're basically doing the classic Mario story. Princess has been kidnapped by an unknown entity in this game, so you assume Bowser. But
Yeah.
Mario gets a letter. He goes there and he meets Goombella, who brings him to this old scientist Goomba, who tells him about the Thousand Year Door. You find the Thousand Year Door with this map the princess gave you, and the door reveals where the stars are systematically as you get them.
I like
It,
that mechanic. It
yeah,
was good.
yeah, it was not bad at all. And through the game itself, you get different powers, like to turn yourself sideways into a flat piece of paper, or turn yourself into a cylinder, which will help you get through
Yeah.
to future parts of the game.
I liked how whenever you found one of those abilities that Mario could use on his own, the treasure box was like,
Oh yeah,
"Ha, I'm gonna curse you with something awful." It's like completely useful. It's
yeah.
like not
I love
awful at all.
I
My
love when you
favorite
get
one
to the
was,
last one.
yeah,
The last one there is like, oh, you already know this story. Well, can I go through the whole thing anyways?
right, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
That's the sailboat, right? The sailboat was cool. You could
yeah.
turn into a little paper boat and a little paper airplane, and I like the paper airplane too. I thought it was adorable when he just like turns
I,
into a little paper airplane, and then
it's
when
a
it,
neat idea, right? It's you got Paper Mario. You might as well turn them into paper things.
yeah, and I like how the my favorite part about the paper airplane was when it lands, it just like sticks into something, and the way it sticks in the wall is really funny. It just like goes,
Yeah, just
and
like a
it's
paper airplane would.
yeah,
Just sticks there
yeah,
for a second, then Mario unfolds and he goes and falls down.
yeah. That they nailed the just what exactly what happens with the paper airplane when you throw it.
Yeah.
It-
So just to summarize, Rogueport here is basically where you find your shops, your quest, you know, mover forwarders. I can't think of the word. Uh, the Thousand Year
NPCs.
Door. The next place you need to go. NPCs. So the whole story takes place around Rogueport, and the first place you go to after Rogueport is called Hooktail's Castle,
Yeah.
and he's your first major boss, and he's the first star you're looking for.
Pretty garden variety chapter 1. I mean I enjoyed it, but it was like, yeah, it kind of
Like
looked it was really really similar to a castle in Paper Mario 64. I thought.
I
It was
liked
just
it
like,
as a way to get into the introduce you to
yeah.
the game, but I didn't find it very interesting. Your first thing you do is you walk to that Koopa town, and that's where you find Koops.
Yeah.
But god damn if it's not just like boring.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing to talk about. You go from the left side of the whole thing to the right side, and you end up in the castle, which is in the background because you can go down a pipe, which will take you to the background where you can enter other buildings and other pipes and stuff like that, making use of the 2D paper effect where, he's always flat.
Yeah, I think if I'm being honest, I think the first 5 chapters, I there were points where I was bored.
Oh, I'm going to get into some of these chapters. Like, I'm just going to gloss through this one. Hooktail had one neat thing when you fought him, though. You find a badge in it that changes your attack sound to a frog. If you equip that badge,
Yes.
it would actually deal more damage to Hooktail and make him weaker because he couldn't stand the sound.
Yeah, he was like the whole time he's trying not to throw up because he thinks frogs are gross.
Yeah.
And the badge costs 0. There's a couple of badges. That one, and the GameCube music one cost 0 badge points. You could just equip it whenever. And
Yeah.
then the frog hammer thing would stay on. Like, even if you left it on, you could leave it on for the whole rest of the game if you wanted to. And anytime you swung the hammer, it would make a frog sound.
Yeah. And I took it off. I didn't like it.
No, I did.
After
I
that
did
fight
too.
was over. No, I wanted to, they worked hard on upgrading and, orchestrating the music and stuff like that to be ruined by Cribbit.
Well, it's funny because I forgot that the badge was equipped, and I kept playing through, and I was like pretty well into chapter 2, and I was like, why the fuck is that frog? What's that frog sound? And then I was like, I remembered about the badge. I was like, all right, I'll just take it off.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
dumb.
yeah. But speaking of chapter 2, I actually found part of this one to be very interesting. So you find this tree because this little character called, what the fuck's his name? Punio. Uh, he guides you to this great tree, the Boogity tree or whatever it's called. And then you find Madame Flurry, who helps you blow away the brushes to the secret entrance to get inside the tree. And when you get inside the tree, you have to rescue all of his little buddies. And when
Yeah.
you do, the rest of the level becomes a puzzle. You have to guide these 100 little slug with feet type characters down the tree in order to find the crystal star.
It was funny. I'm like looking at the walkthrough for it, or the wiki for it, and I thought this right before I saw this little caption, but it is very much like Pikmin, where
Yeah,
you have like all these little guys, and then you need like a certain amount of them to stand on a thing to activate a switch. So you have 101 of them, and there are times when you need all 101 of them to activate a switch, or you have like they go into battle against like some bees.
yeah, yeah. And if you
And if
don't
you
have
don't
enough
have
of them,
enough, yeah, I didn't have
you also
enough, and they got beaten.
yeah, but you also have to hit the little bee-like creatures with your hammer to knock some of them out. Otherwise, they'll get overwhelmed. Because I lost the second battle that way. I had
Yeah,
101, but they lost because I was just standing there watching them.
yeah, you have to participate.
Yeah, there was another part where you had to kind of well, you didn't have to you had to blow them over a little ledge, and what you had to
Yeah,
do is basically yeet them off the side with the Madame Flurry's
yeah,
wind thing, and
yep,
then they land in these bubbles and they float up, and then you blow the bubbles to the other side. You
yeah.
had to
That
do
was
it for
cool
all
too.
101.
Yeah, that was a fun little, like, it took me a second to figure that part out, and then
Yeah,
once I did, it was, I think one fell off by accident, and then it like floated up as a
yeah.
bubble.
If you don't have all 101, like if you have 100 of them, you can't activate the switch. There
that
was a
part
point
that part irritated me a little bit, I
Yeah,
will
there was
say.
a point where I kind of pushed them off a side so I could get rid of them for a bit, and I cleared the enemies, came back, picked them up. So it was just that aspect of it, which was great because when there's enemies, they would actually cower,
Yeah,
and when they cowered, they would be susceptible to jumping off the side of whatever the hell they were at, so that you'd had to go chase them.
yeah. It they were it was a fun idea, but in some respects, because I think the level was too big for its own good to use this type of little mechanic of like having these little things follow you around, because like you would walk down these narrow paths, and like fuck if one wouldn't fall off, and then you have to go back down and get it and
Yeah,
call them up, and I don't know, it was cool, but it was just a little bit tedious.
yeah. And your first encounter with Magnus von Grapple boss fight, basically a large mustachioid enemy who turns out to be I guess you'd call him the second in command of the entire enemy force.
Yeah,
He had a
I like
big
how they,
robot, not a hard fight.
no, not at all.
In fact, I can't think of a fight here that actually was challenged with.
Not in this chapter, no. And actually not for most of the game did I feel that I was challenged.
No, there's only one point where I was kind of running low on health, and that's because of my stinginess to use my items before I get to the boss.
Right.
Yeah, that's an old thing. My brother's been kind of catching up on the episodes and all that crap I keep saying about him. He's starting to, bring back, up to me and let me know the real story. So
Oh yeah.
I'll simply say this, that he was the one who taught me to hoard my items in RPGs.
Oh, I hoard them also. Like I never know when only recently have I been like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to use these.
Yeah, that's
That's what
the
they're
same
there
with me.
for.
Like
But I've
Final
always
Fantasy games, I still can't use elixirs because
Oh, no, never.
no, because they're so rare. You want to save them for the final boss, and then the final boss, you're so used to not using them, you just
Right.
don't use them.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, I guess I didn't need those after all.
Yeah, God, fuck.
Or maybe
Anyways,
they would have been useful.
yeah. Oh, they will always be useful. I've been trying to break that habit, but yeah, no luck. Certain things are ingrained, childhood trauma and all that.
Yeah, that's a trauma.
Yeah. Level 3, I hated. I hated the next level or chapter 3,
It was
the arena.
it was a fun idea again. Just like this game is full of fun ideas that are too long. Like
Yeah,
you have to fight through. Okay, so
20
you're in this
ranks.
arena. Yeah, and in order to you see that like on the championship belt of the champion of this wrestling arena is the star that you need, which turns out to be not the real one, but whatever. So you have to enter in this fighting competition where you have to fight through 20 fucking levels, and like between each level, each and every single level, this one took me hours.
Yeah.
Like you would fight around, and then you'd have to like do some bullshit, and there was a bunch of talking points like in between each and every single one of them. This could have been done in 10 rounds, I think.
Yeah, they really could have summed this up because you do the first 5 rounds and nothing happens, and then you have somebody wants to go talk to you, so you go talk to them, and then you find out somebody's sending you secret notes,
Yeah.
and you have to go through the fights again. And you start in the amateur league or whatever, then you're in like the shitty locker room, then you go to the major league and you're in the better locker room, and then finally you fight the champ for the belt, and you win, you get the special room, and all the meantime you're sneaking around and looking for clues for what's going on because there's a secret conspiracy. But
Yeah.
it just drags
Oh, it's
on
so
and
so
on.
fucking long. By the time I got to this one, like I would sit like this game took me probably a couple weeks to get all the way through because I would play it, sit and play a little bit each evening or whatever. And on this one, I would always try to be like, all right, let's finish up like a chapter of Paper Mario. It's almost like a storybook, right? And it's like
Yeah,
this one, I stayed up until probably like way longer than I wanted to have work the next day. And I was like, I'm gonna at this point, I'm rank 3 of 20. Three being the best. So I've been through like 17 levels of this fucking horse shit. Like I'm just gonna press on, and there was still like another hour just to do the last 3 rounds and beat the couple of bosses at the end. It's
oh, it
just
absolutely dragged on. um no, this is the one that took me the longest. I was playing one fight a night, and then finally I sat down and
one
I
fight
cut.
a night.
I was getting so bored because you do the fight, and you're like, "Ooh, hey, I just got through a fight," and it's like, "Hey, you have to do another fight," and like, "Oh, joy!" And then finally something happened, so I did like 3 or 4 fights, and then the story, and then I did push through to the end. But I think it took me like 4 or 5 days to get through this because I was just so uninterested in the game at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, it was, and it's not a lot of like value added
No,
stuff in between all the fights. It was like, oh, go talk to this person that's out in the lobby. It's like, why fucking make me walk just to talk to a person and then come back and fight another battle? And it's like, oh, you got to go out to the plaza and talk to this person at the juice shop. It's like, fucking why? Just have them come to me if you need to put dialogue somewhere. Don't make me go walk around for
yeah.
no
There's
reason.
also the guy who had all the hints to the secrets in the fighting dome there, and I
Yeah.
talked to him once. I'm like, that looks like a long list of stuff I don't want to do. So I just said, fuck it. And I didn't do any of it.
Yeah, no way. Um yeah, it was pretty bad. And then followed immediately by, oh no, this is a different one. Chapter 4 is not too bad, I don't think. No,
Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, I finished both in one sitting while I was in Toronto for that comedy show. Each one I finished one day after the other.
Okay.
So
Yeah, not anything too egregious. Although I think both of them did a little bit too much of the thing where you have to go all the way to the very end, all the way to the far right of the stage, all the way to the end, and then go all the way fucking back to the beginning, and then talk to someone only to find out, oh, it's right back where you were, and you have to fucking walk
yeah,
all the way back to the other. There was a lot of this in this chapter 4 and 5 in particular. I was getting very irritated with.
yeah, it was. It's a theme of the game. They like to make you go to places you've already been. Um, I don't remember much about this level. It was very, very vanilla. It was very uninteresting. I mean, the townsfolk are turned into pigs. Everything's kind of dark, and you got those weird looking kids.
Yeah, that was a weird. This whole chapter 4 was just a really weird
The
area.
only
But that,
yeah, the
yeah,
only
go ahead.
interesting part of this was when you beat the final boss there, and he stole your identity. So you're just kind of like a purple Mario something, and then you had to go back and find him again, and all your allies were actually with this imposter.
Yeah, so you have to fight yourself, and then you have to
Yeah,
figure out what his name is, and you're actually missing one of the letters. So you have to go
yeah.
find the letter. Um, I thought it was clever, but it was, again, execution was a little off because it was one of those things where it's like you're gonna walk all over the fucking place to find this thing. Um, I don't know. Yeah, too much just like walking around and talking. But
And this is
this
why you
was,
don't have to grind, is because you're constantly going back and forth.
yeah. But again, yeah, the game is so well balanced from that perspective that I I at this point I hadn't really thought of it um as a storybook yet. So I was still a little bit too much in the like this is an RPG mode where I was getting really irritated with the things that some RPGs do, which is just go walk around, talk to this person, then go walk over here. They're going to tell you to go over here, and then they're going to tell you to go over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, too
But
much of that.
speaking of that, going from here to there, the next one was kind of started the same way because you had to go to this pirate island,
Oh,
and
fucking fuck
you
this one.
found you found the douchebag pirate. I don't even know his name. He was just Flavio. There it is. It's right in the
Yeah.
wiki, but he's just like self pretentious piece of garbage of a captain, but he doesn't have somebody to steer the ship, so they can't leave. So you have to go find Bobbery.
Yeah,
Now, when
but
you first
Bobbery's
find,
awesome.
when you first find him, he's in this like pit of depression because oh, woe is me, my wife had died. Oh, I'll never sail again. And then you have to go somewhere to find a letter.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember where to find the letter? Because I don't.
Oh, the letter was in the tavern in the main square, but it was again one of those things where if you talk to the person that has the fucking letter, they don't give it to you until you go back and talk to someone and then go talk to them again. It's one of those things where even if you might be 2 or 3 steps ahead of what the game is leading you towards, and if you skip any of the steps it's not going to work. Like there were
Yeah,
several times when I was like, oh, it makes sense that it's here, oh, it's not, and then you walk back and talk to the person and they're like, oh, it's there. Yeah, I knew it was there, but you have to like talk to an npc first to activate that portion of it. So that this was another one where it was a lot of like back and forth bullshit, but I already like was reading ahead of what it was telling me to do.
yeah, and I mean the level itself, besides blowing up a wall and having Bobbery in your party finally, again, it's just another cave level. You have spikes to
Yeah.
avoid. You have to find a coconut. You run from the left side to the right side, then back to the left, and then to the right and back, and then finally you get
Ugh.
into the main cave, and you go all the way down, and you find a ship with the boss on it, and then you fight the boss, and then the boss becomes an ally. You use his ship in the future of the game.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean
It
that
was
that is a
story
redeeming
element wise,
quality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Story element wise, it was pretty good. The level, nothing to write home about. It
I
was
do like in this, do you get the ability to turn into the sailboat? I think that's where you get it first.
I
Cuz there's all these
believe,
like,
yeah,
yeah, there's all these different water channels that you have to like go through to kind of access some different parts of the level that you're not able
yeah.
to on foot. And yeah, I really appreciate paper
The
stuff.
boat part was kind of fun. I mean, again, it was a little bit of back and forth because you find the boat ability on those chests. You always had to find the black key, and if you didn't find it before you got to the chest, you had to backtrack to find the black key because it was always along your route, except for in the case of like one or two where the key was in the
Hmm.
same room.
Yeah.
But no,
really,
it's
te- really telegraphing it there.
yeah. But no, once you get the boat ability there, yeah, this level kind of it does become a lot more interesting. But all you're doing is basically going down a waterfall to get to the bottom level.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's next? What is
The,
next? 3
the
days of
train.
excess. Fuck,
The
fuck
train.
this level. It's
Yeah, you
not
don't
that
like
this
it.
level is bad. It's that it takes forever.
Yeah,
And
it does.
you have to trigger things. Like there's one point
Yep.
you have to get the signature of the conductor for the stupid
Yeah.
little kid in the back of the train, and if you don't trigger the right person to make the whole action happen, you have to go back
Yes.
and forth from the front to the back of the train like 10 times to figure out who you have to talk to.
Yes,
And
that's
even if you
exactly what
talk
I
to
did.
everybody, you still have to find somebody else to talk to, and it just became
Right.
so infuriating.
Right, because like if you're good, if you're even like slightly logical, you can deduce like exactly what you need to do. So like the little bomb boy wants um he wants an autograph for his birthday, and there's like a famous actor on board. So like
Yeah, who's in the
y-
first car of the train near the conductor.
oh yeah, also on the other fucking end of the train.
Yeah, so you
But like
run up to him and he's like, I don't give autographs. So you run all
right.
the way back. But that
Well, you're
doesn't trigger the event. You have to talk to somebody else who's not related to the bombs to trigger the
right.
event, then go back to the fucking
Yeah.
conductor, talk to
Yeah.
him. He's like, oh, signature? Well, that sounds fucking fantastic. Then you finally figure it out and you go back and give it to the bomb. But on the way, you find out two more people have lost two things.
Yes.
But it doesn't tell you where they possibly could be. So it doesn't tell you it's actually very important to the story that they lost these two things until you
And you're
finally
not
give
supposed to
up.
find them until later.
Yeah, until you give up and go and carry on with the main story.
Right. Yeah. I was like looking around for
Oh,
whatever. It was like it was like a necklace and an earring. I was like, yeah, I'll look for that shit as long as
yeah, why
I'm
not?
walking back and forth in this train. Um, but at this point, I think this is why I'm a little bit more forgiving of this level, even for all of its bullshit. This was the point where I was finally my mindset flipped, and I thought, this is more of a story, an interactive story, than it is a game to challenge me. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's just sit back and enjoy it for what it is, and not
Until you get to
yeah.
that midway point where you have to activate the switch to bring the bridge down. And then there's these jumps you have to do on these circling platforms there. And Mario,
Fuck
who's known
that.
for his
Yeah.
fucking jumping, can't make the fucking 3-inch gap all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I had that problem with the Yoshi Jr.'s ability where he like does that little like pedal
Yeah, he
run,
floats you across larger gaps.
but he mostly misses. Like they could have just extended the reach of his thing and been fine, but
Yeah, if you don't hit the A button right at the edge of the like the gap where you're falling off, you don't make it to the other end. It comes into play so much in the latter half of the game.
yeah, that pissed me off. And whenever this game tried to do any sort of platforming, like it does at like the train station where you stop for a bit, like it just was irritating to me because
Yeah,
the platforming is just not. It's fine. I mean, intelligent systems or intelligent designs or whatever made this game, and they are known. This is not their platforming. It's not their bread and butter.
it's not their most intelligent design.
Ah,
Well, but
it's
this
intelligent.
level,
It's
yeah, this
intelligent systems, right?
oh,
Systems.
it
I think
is systems, yeah.
yeah.
But this is the level you get the tube ability. So when you turn Mario sideways to make him paper flat to go through bars and stuff, if you rotate the left stick, he'll actually roll up into a tube, and you can roll under stuff. And there's parts of this level where you have to fall down
Yeah.
while in the tube form, and then go down these kind of maze to get to the bottom. And I didn't realize there was a door on the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up killing all the enemies and getting pissed off because I had absolutely fucking no idea where to go. And it turns out there was a door because all you see is like a translucent shadow of the door. And it was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
dark to begin with. And I play during the day. So I have a window right beside me, and it casts like light against my
No.
face. So I'm
The
half
glare.
blind. Yeah. So I didn't see that door. I'm just like, I don't fucking get this. This is dumb. So I was like, all right, I give up. Walk through. It's like, go through the door. I'm like, oh fuck the walkthrough. I was, oh man,
Yeah. I
this whole
liked
train level. God,
that little Plinko thing. That was kind of cool. Cool
it was
idea
kind
for
of
the
cool,
roll
except
up.
for me getting my own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, after this, you get to this posh town. Fuck, I don't even care for the name of it. But this is where all the rich people live, and you go to the mayor's place, and mayor turns out to be this douchebag penguin detective that was on the train
I
that
like the
would
Penguin Detective. You leave
he
the
was
Penguin
a
Detective alone.
douche.
He's
Oh my
so
god.
funny. I
He
love
sits
that
there and
guy.
accuses everybody, and he's like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm the greatest detective ever. Now you go solve the mystery, Luigi,"
I
because he
just
calls you Luigi the whole time.
Yeah, he does. I just like how he's like a hack Sherlock Holmes.
Like this is all a hobby for the mayor of Poshtown there, but he's
Yeah.
holding the crystal star, and when you go into the place, the crystal star gets stolen by the bad guys. But again, it's a ruse because the real crystal star is hidden away from everybody. So you do a little bit of a puzzle platforming thing around the building, find the star, bada bing, bada boom. You're off to your seventh
I liked
look.
that I liked that temple or that museum that the star piece was in, or like the crystal star was in, because you ended up in the back behind it, and then like Mario just kind of like walks through a fold in the back wall to get to like
Yeah,
the part behind it. I thought that was neat.
yeah.
It's
The
like
perspective.
like a mirror version of the room you were just in.
Yeah, and the use of forced perspective in this to hide secret pathways to get behind buildings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like there's
I
one in
really
Rogue Town there where it's a brick wall, but it's
Yes.
offset on a 3D plane, so you just have to walk into the middle, then it'll shift to show you that you're actually on a 3D plane as opposed to
Yeah.
a straight wall.
I love that stuff. That's so cool. I every time I find one of those, I'm just like, yeah.
Literal sound he makes.
Yeah, that's it.
Um, so chapter 7 is shoot to the moon, and I actually made a tweet about this, and I'm not a big tweeter or Xer or
Oh,
whatever you want to call it, but
but you X'd this one, didn't you?
there is a point in this game where you have to find somebody. And he's like, oh, last I heard he was in X location. Well, X location turns out to be the first level you went to. So
Uh-huh.
you go back to Rogueport, you jump in these pipes that quick travel you to these levels. You talk to somebody who's like, no, he went to level 2. And you do this all through the 6 fucking levels you just did,
I
only
had
to
a
find
such
out that he is right where you started, sleeping in the fucking inn.
And then he's like pissed off at you, like, oh, where were you?
Then you have to jump on him 20 some odd times to wake
Oh,
him up.
that fucking pissed me off. That like don't waste my time.
That
Just
whole thing
like
was wasting my time. That took
oh
longer than like chapter 3
I had
because
a
you had to find the right fucking person to talk to.
I had a meltdown in the Discord on that part. That just like
Yeah,
that I was so done. I think I woke that guy up and I was like, I'm gonna put this game down until tomorrow.
I did that. I
And
literally did that. When I found him, I'm like, I am fucking done for a day. You've
yeah,
wasted my time. I'm going to
yeah,
go watch TV. I'm going to go play with my kid. I'm going to do pet my dog. I'm going to do anything else but think about video games for 24 fucking hours because you've
yeah.
wasted that much of my life.
Yeah, that was that was a bad one.
Oh,
Oh man. I think I had purged that from my memory. You brought it back.
yeah. No, I've been holding on to that one for a few days now. Like, oh God. So yeah, I've like, I don't tweet that often. And I was just like, it was sitting in the back of my brain. So to get it out, I just threw a tweet. Don't waste my fucking time.
Yeah, certainly tweet worthy.
Yeah, and that's on the official Retrotopia account if you want to see it.
Fucking bullshit. Yeah.
'Cause
And also like once you get launched to the moon, so like you need to find him to get like the
the big
bombs.
cannon, because you're in Bomb
Yeah.
Land.
And he's like the general that can operate the cannon and what the fuck ever. So um you get launched to the moon. I did not like the part before you get into the like enemy's lair, like the far outpost or whatever.
Oh yeah, the moon like
When you're
itself,
just
or your
yes.
I jumped
Too
on
long.
Yoshi, which made me move at a normal pace, which took away
Nice.
the anger. I avoided every enemy I could on the fucking moon because fuck them.
Yeah.
And then I found the place. I went right to it. I didn't care about items. I didn't care about save boxes. And once I found the base, everything was good.
There were just too many screens of craters before you got to. I was like, after like the third or fourth one, I was like, okay, where the fuck? Like, did I go the wrong way or what is happening here?
Yeah.
This game is like after the previous bullshit, I was like, this game is just fucking me around at this point, and I'm not appreciating it.
Well, I went with the theory that the moon is round, so eventually I'm going to run into where I need to be. And then when I got to the screen with the moon base in the background, I knew I was
True.
exactly where I needed to be. And then when I realized you could blow shit up, I found the pipe. I went into the pipe. I went into the moon base. There was a save spot right there. Bam, done for another day.
Yeah. I don't know. What'd you think of the moon base? I thought the moon base itself was actually pretty fun.
I like the puzzles. The moon base was fun because
Yeah.
you've kind of been there already in the Peach cutscene, so you're
Yeah.
recognizing stuff. Um, yeah, the puzzles were fun. I enjoyed them. Like the floors, you had to walk a certain path to get to the treasure chest to get the key card.
Yeah, and each one was just like a different little puzzle. I liked that. I liked the moon
Yeah,
base a lot.
there was some platforming parts at the end, and yeah, you find Peaches. Oh, actually, I found that this part really funny. You find Peaches like room she's imprisoned in.
Yeah.
She's not there, but the shower's running, and then one of the X-Nauts, which are the bad guys. I guess at this point, I'm going to say there's going to be spoilers from this point on. So if you want to play the game, you might want to shit can it at this point because we're no
Yeah.
longer holding back on spoilers. But
Yeah, except for the one that you needed to forget that I already
yeah,
let
you
loose.
should
Yeah.
have already went back a minute and skipped ahead 20. But so yeah, you get to the shower and it's going like it's all steamy, and Mario does this. Oh my god, I just saw tits look on his face. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden the X-Naut jumps out. You end up in a battle for the key card, and it's just like, oh, that was adorable because I thought like Peach was going to come out and be like, oh my god, Mario, you saved me, but
Yeah.
look out.
Yeah, they definitely do that like play on your expectation that it's like naked Peach. And there's a couple of times in the game where like Peach has to like change into a uniform, or she's like invisible at one
Yeah,
point
and she
just to
takes
take
her
her
clothes
clothes
off.
off. There's like a lot of like insinuating that Peach is naked in this game. It's like a
Yeah,
paper doll Peach.
Peach Fuzz, if you know what I mean.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
Anything
you go.
else on?
No,
Yeah,
you go
go
through
ahead.
this level. Once you get to the end of it, you meet the tech computer. And I think before we get into the last level, let's talk about the interludes, the
Yeah, I
Bowser
was
and the Peach, because we
the
started with
Bowser ones were
Peach.
brilliant.
Oh, see, I wasn't a big fan of Bowser in the game, but his side-scrolling levels were fun
Those were fun too, but I love that like they changed it up and made Bowser not the primary enemy in this game,
in a
or an
way.
enemy at all. I mean, you have to fight him at the end, um, but basically, like he's also trying to get the crystal stars for his
Well,
own
no, he's trying to
purposes.
figure out why Peach has been kidnapped, but it wasn't him. Then he learns of the crystal stars.
You're right,
Then he's always one step behind Mario
right.
trying to get the crystal stars.
That's what was so entertaining about Bowser was that like he's always one step behind. Like he's at the town you were at like 2 chapters ago.
Yeah.
And then he finds out like he does the stuff and then realizes that the crystal star is already gone, and I don't know, I thought that was brilliant.
No, he you do these side-scrolling levels in the vein of Super Mario Brothers, and
Yep.
you get these pieces of meat which make Bowser grow. So Bowser has a jump and a flame attack, and if you get enough meat, you grow just larger and larger. Like there's no limit except for the amount of meat that's in that level, and then you can just walk from left to right, and then you get to the castle at the end of like level 1-1, and
Right.
you just knock the flag over and walk into the castle, and he says, "Oh, that was his victory for getting to the next city."
Yeah, I like the Bowser interludes. I thought they were fun.
Yeah, I didn't like I
Full of
said, I didn't
jokes.
like Bowser's story in this game because he wasn't really needed, to be honest. Like, if he'd run into Mario a few times through the game, maybe, but because you only see him at the end and how he's presented to be the boss battle at the end is just he literally falls through the roof and lands on the guy you're fighting.
Yeah. See, yeah,
That
I don't know. I
was
disagree. I thought that was fun.
just such a poor use of like a classic character. I thought Bowser was
No.
eventually going to become one of your allies.
Oh, that would have been cool too. But like such a great payoff that like finally that showdown that like you've just been missing each other this whole time. Then he just like falls out of the ceiling and you fight him.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I
I
say
liked
agree
it.
to disagree, but then
I
you have
enjoyed
the
it.
yeah, you have the Peach interlude, which actually moves the story forward because Peach is kind of sending information to Mario because she befriends the base's computer
Yep.
tech, who is like an artificial intelligence. And in these little interludes, you have to do like little tasks for tech, and then your reward is to send an email to Mario. So, it was I liked it because that moved the story forward, and things were fun. Like making the invisibility potion was you had to read the instructions around the room,
Yeah,
and then
that
you
was a
had to
good
hit
puzzle.
four buttons for four colored potions, and it wasn't just left to right. You had to put like a shot of red, then a shot of green, then back to red, then to yellow, then back to green, then the blue, then back to like all that stuff. And if you did it wrong, she would I think she would grow or she would shrink.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't do it wrong. I got it on the first try, but it was like kind of like a little logic problem. It was like the
We
green is next to the blue, but it's all the way to the right, but it's
Yeah.
two away from the red, like that sort of thing. Like those sorts of clues are scattered throughout the room.
Yeah, once you get that all in the right place. And then you have to do approximately 30 seconds in the microwave or whatever the last step is. And I must have been counting wrong because that's why I did it wrong. I never got the sequence wrong. I got the last 30 seconds. So I actually had my timer on my phone out. And as soon as 30
Yep.
seconds hit, I hit the button. And yeah, I guess you had to be bang on 30 seconds.
As soon as it said like you have to put it in for 30 seconds, I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting on my phone.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna waste my time with this. Definitely gonna make sure it's precise.
absolutely. Anything else on Peach?
No, they were fine. Again, it was just advance the story, but it doesn't really do all
Yeah,
that much. Yeah.
I enjoyed the Peach. I didn't enjoy the Bowser. It seems you enjoyed both for
Yeah,
some
I mean,
reason.
I enjoyed Bowser more than Peach because Bowser was just pure fun.
Yeah, that's a fair point. A wrong point, but a fair point. Um, so the final level, you have all seven crystal stars by this point, and you go down to the door where you meet the old Goomba guy who, shit you not, this is not even a spoiler, even though it's a spoiler. You knew he wasn't the Goomba fucking scientist that you talked to earlier because he just talked wrong, he acted wrong.
Yeah, he's kind of leading you astray.
Yeah, so that big surprise was not really a surprise. But you go inside the door, and it's called the Palace of Darkness or something like that.
Yep.
And it's just a gigantic palace. And the part I enjoyed was all the puzzle rooms when you had to get the
Yes.
8 keys. So as you progress through the
Yeah, those were
level,
fun.
yeah, as you progress through the level, you have to find these 8 keys to open up these 8 locks to progress further. And you're in this spiral tower, and you have 8 rooms on the, or sorry, 4 rooms on the first floor, 4 rooms on the second floor, and each one's a puzzle. And God, I had so much fun with that part.
Yeah, they were cool. I liked the just like there was a little bit of a riddle in each room, and then if you kind of thought about it a second, you could figure it out pretty quick. But it was a really enjoyable little section of the game.
Yeah, some of the puzzles were, I wouldn't say tough. They were just kind of a little bit of a head scratcher there until you just took a minute and scrolled through all your characters and like, oh, I could use this person to try this.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, like there's one puzzle where 2 rooms mirror each other, and you just have to follow the steps in each room would affect the other room. So you just had to go back and forth. Again, you
Yeah,
had to
that
go
was
back and forth because this game can't do anything without making you go back to a location you've
right.
already been.
Yeah, that one I didn't worry about as much. That one I was like, oh,
It
that's
was
pretty
only one
clever.
floor up. I mean, it was
Right.
not really a killer, but I'm just making a point.
Yeah. We have to get that the game had to get that one last backtrack bullshit in for
Yeah.
you, like before you finish the game.
Oh yeah, and in this level, you meet Hooktail's brother, Gloomtail. Uh,
Yeah.
just another dragon. Honestly, had zero problems beating him.
Yeah, this is just like by the time you get past those 8 key doors, then it's just, like boss battle. You're into the end game here where
Yeah,
you're kind of cleaning up the last little bits of story and fighting the bosses. There's the dragon. There's the you
I
have to
think
fight
between the 8 keys when I opened them all up and
Mhm.
getting to the final boss, I leveled up 4 times.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like it's
Yeah.
like 3 boss battles in a row, and they just shower you with star points.
Yeah, and this is where I had to I had the level up that saved me from moving forward. So there's a point where you fight, who was it? Sir Grodius or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do a second fight. Oh no, yeah, it's a fucking big, the main boss, the main X-Naut, Grotus X or whatever his name is. You beat him, you don't have a chance to heal, but you get your star
Right.
points at the end of the fight. I leveled up, and then that's when Bowser comes down, but you don't have a chance to heal. But because I leveled up, I healed before the Bowser fight.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, I don't think I was in any trouble, but I definitely had to take a first few turns of the Bowser fight to like kind of reorganize myself and heal up a little bit. So that kind of sucked. But yeah, that was a cool sequence. You know, like you had the dragon, you have that Grodius guy, and then you have Bowser, and then
You
you
have
have
Dark
the
Peach.
Dark Peach, which is like another kind of dark element to this game where I was like, holy cow, they took this like cute, beloved character from Mario and just turned it into like an evil queen.
Yeah, and I'm surprised there isn't porn all over the internet of Peach. Oh wait, there is.
Oh God.
But
Oh,
no,
I'm sure you could even find like Dark Queen Peach or whatever. Like just
I would, yeah,
no.
I would look it up, but
No.
I'm not going to. I don't want the FBI coming after me for that. One's like, no, slap my hand, stop, no internet for you.
No, yeah.
It's like you guys aren't even supposed to be in Canada. It's like we don't care. You know, the
Yeah.
government agrees with us. Stop.
Yeah, no, it'd be like you're on trial in the courtroom and they're like reading your search history out loud
Yeah.
for the court. It's like, what is Rule 34 Evil Peach?
If you don't know what it is, look it up. Really interesting stuff.
Oh, put your safe search on.
Yeah. Incognito mode. No,
Yay.
the fight with Peach was actually really fun. Again, I had the little their health at the bottom, so I could kind of see what was going on. And then you got that.
Yeah.
I guess the like every final boss of a game always has the second form, so you get that point where the Shadow Queen comes out of the Peach body and she surrounds them in a shroud of shadows, but you can't hurt her. And then all of a sudden it goes through a big cutscene, and then that's when you finally hand her ass.
Yeah, and that's like there's this point and then also an earlier point in the game where you're actually supposed to lose the battle. Either lose the battle or run away, and that was a thing here where like there is just absolutely no way for you to hit her, and I was just like, fuck, am I just not figuring this out? And I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna lose. This is kind of bullshit. What a weird difficulty spike. And then it kind of progresses the story where it's like, oh no, you're supposed to get your
Yeah.
ass kicked at first, and then like something happens and you heal up, and she does something where like Peach is like battling back, you know, like trying to fight back a
See, I
little
never
bit.
died. I just hit her a few times, with her invulnerability, then the cutscene triggered.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. But it was like I definitely had that thought where it was like, well, I'm supposed to maybe lose this, but I'm not 100% sure. But I really didn't want to lose because I knew I would have to go back like 3 boss fights. I would have been so pissed if I would have died.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That probably would have been the end of me playing the game before
Yeah,
we
I would have just
recorded
been like,
this.
nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
But
No,
just ugh.
no, it
Fights that you're supposed to lose just really suck.
yeah, I hate them, but I like it when it's obvious. Like when you walk into a fight in, I don't know, say a Final Fantasy game, because they usually have one fight you're supposed to lose.
There's one in Chrono
And
Trigger for sure.
yeah, and you're
Yeah.
hit for such an amount of damage, you know full well you won't be able to, heal up. So you don't waste your items at that point trying to, heal. Uh, you just let yourself die, and you're supposed to. But what really sucks is when you think you're supposed to die, but you weren't, and then it's like game over. You're
Yeah.
like, what?
Oh no, you were supposed to fight back. That boss is just really hard, you idiot.
Yeah, like motherfucker. No, but the final boss in this was I don't know. Like I said, it was a battle of attrition.
Yeah, big time.
Basically, two hands come out. You take care of the hands. That saves you from, you know, her healing herself because the hands would come down and take your hit points and give them to Dark Peach. And then the second one would be these hands come out of the ground, and I can't remember what they do. I think they suck you into the ground and hit you multiple times. But
Looks like they
that's
tickle
where,
you a bunch.
yeah, that's where Bobbery came in handy with the massive explosion because he would just wipe everything out and take a few hit points off of the Dark Queen there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't unfortunately have that, but yeah, it was definitely like take care of the hands and then try as hard as you can to get as many hits in on the central little peach as you could
Yeah,
before the hands
150
came
hit.
back.
Yeah, 150
Yeah.
hit points. Took just time. That's all it did.
Yeah, it was just chipping away. And then yeah, like I think I got to use the ultimate whatever that power is called.
Supernova.
Supernova. Yeah, I used Supernova probably a couple times because I think it does probably 20 points of damage.
I completely forgot to use any star power in that last fight.
Well, at least you had your upgraded
Well,
allies because
well,
that
you
was
know when you
cool.
get into a rhythm there, like where something's working, blow up the hands,
Yep.
make Mario do a few shots, repeat that over and over and over until boss is beaten. That's why I didn't use star powers because I didn't need to use star power. Like I
Yeah.
would skip Mario and use him to heal because blowing up the hands is more important than uh, hitting the Dark Queen for a few extra hit points.
Yeah. No reason to change up a formula that's
Yeah,
working.
exactly. All right, so that's the full game. There's some post game stuff you can do once the final credits roll. You save, you jump back in, you go back to the town of Rogueport, and you just carry
Here,
on.
say you go back to Pound Town.
Go back to Pound Town, baby.
I am not going to do any additional stuff on this game. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm
I'm
pretty
done.
done. Like I said, I was
Yeah.
finding Miss Mouse there, but I just decided it was too much. I was done because it was I knew I was going to have to go to a place and then come back and then go to that place again, then come back a second time, and I was just like, fuck that.
Yeah. So
Let's wrap this up. We've been talking. I think this is one of our longest episodes since we did Mega Man 2. So let's
it's going to
wrap
be a
this
longer
up
one.
with
Yeah.
a Sam summary and score.
Lot to say. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to add that I haven't said before. I love me an intelligent systems game. Uh, they make the Paper Mario series, they make Advance Wars, they make uh fucking Fire Emblem for Christ's sake. I mean, good games, like really solid just fun, engaging battle mechanics and stuff. I really wish they would make more. I wish they would get like the keys to an RPG franchise, like a turn-based RPG.
Like Paper
That's not
Mario.
no, that's not Paper Mario. I'm talking like something completely different, something new, or like something set in the Fire Emblem universe that has like a just like a Final Fantasy type game, like something like that. Um, I think they could do something really cool with it. But anyways, I like the game. I think it's cool. I'm a big fan of the studio that made it. Um, I don't know. There were points in the middle where I was getting really irritated with all the amount it was wasting my time until I had changed my mindset that it was a storybook and kind of meant to be enjoyed, and you take your time with it a little bit. It's definitely not one that you're going to rush through. If you go into it thinking that you're going to play it quick, you're not. The game just takes its own time, so keep that in mind. But overall, I think after playing it and being a little irritated with it by the end, I liked it, and I still think I like it. It's a solid game. It's worth the price of admission, like we said.
Yeah, and the only thing I have really negative to say about it is too much back and forth, too much wasting of my time when you want to move the story forward. I shouldn't have to run back and then like if I have
Yeah.
to go fetch something, I should only have to go back once. I shouldn't have to bring it back and then oh, well, you forgot item number 2, then you run back and do item number 2. It's like don't waste my time, especially with that fucking admiral or general bomb guy who's
Oh, fuck him. Yeah.
that
No.
right there frustrated me so goddamn much, especially when it's like, oh, oh, he was in Bombtown anyways. I'm like, you motherfuckers. He's like,
Yeah.
he's at the inn, which is literally 3 steps from where the quest started.
Yeah, like he's been here sleeping the entire time. Fuck that
Yeah.
guy.
And that's where the game is going to lose
Yeah.
a little bit of its score for me.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna take a hit from me too. I mean, I don't appreciate that in any sort of game. Like
No.
Breath of Fire does the same thing.
Oh my god, Breath of Fire 2,
Yeah.
fuck.
Final Fantasy VII Remake even has some of that shit where it's just like, find this little girl's cats. It's like, I'm not here to find someone's cats. I'm here to fucking fight giant houses.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, don't get me started on that. So are we gonna score this thing?
Yeah.
What do we got?
It's out of 10. Well, we got 7 stars. You want to score it out of 7?
No. let's do it out of 10. But I'm gonna give it a good 7. I think 7 is where I'm gonna put it.
Yeah, it lost enough for me from the arena level, how it took so long. It was just very repetitive to that part that I'm not going to get into again because it just gets my heart beating.
Yeah.
To the, just, I don't know, underwhelming levels at some cases, especially near the beginning of the game. So it's a 7. It's definitely a game worth playing.
Yeah.
Just, there's better games out there right now that you should put above the list than this one.
Yeah, like Super Mario RPG. Like, just play that instead of this. For
Super
sure.
Mario RPG at least progresses you forward at every stage of the game.
Yeah, there is not a lot of like filler bullshit in that game. That game is tight, I would say, except for those stupid little Power Ranger fuckers. They can fuck off. I did not enjoy that.
Underutilized Power Ranger enemies that could have been more utilized throughout the game to a final bravado where you fought them all together in the giant robot. I don't know. I could get into that again, but I'm not going to.
That battle sucks. I hated it.
Yeah.
It took me so many tries.
All right, so that's everything. That's the 1,000 year door.
Have we abandoned the tier list, or are we going to keep...
I honestly think it's time to abandon the tier list. As fun as it was, I haven't been keeping up on it. I think I'm like 6 weeks behind now, so... Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd put, even though I gave it a 7, I think this is like a solid B tier game.
Oh, I'd give it a B tier too. I think if we're going to do the tier list, we're just going to give it a tier letter and not compare it to anything. Because like I said, the list is out of date.
Yeah. We'll call it Tears of the Kingdom.
And on that note, thanks for listening to Retrotopia again. And next week, you can expect less Sam. Because you're fired.
I'm fired.
All right, Sam, give us your classic catchphrase, and then we're out of here.
Oh yeah, shit. What's next week though? Are we talking? Super Mario Brothers 3 is next up after this one.
Yeah, it's a back-to-back Mario affair because this game took longer than we wanted, so we're kind of retooling for some short games so that we can catch up.
Yeah, for sure. So until next time, have a great week, everybody.